everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Linda. Now today's video is a collaboration video. My friend Elena, her YouTube channel name is Elena Jenkins DIY, asked me if I would co-host in her monthly challenge. Now I'm going to insert a picture right here of her main YouTube channel page. So after this video, make sure you go check out and see the projects that she came up with. Send her some love. Tell her I sent you. I don't think you're going to be disappointed. Now, Elena and I actually met through another challenge, and we quickly became fast friends, have been chatting. I just love the stink out of her. She's so sweet. Her projects are so creative. When I watch her videos, I'm like, how come I couldn't think of that? You know how that goes. But I mean, just the things she comes up with are incredible. I just love her and love her projects. Now, her monthly challenge is actually called the Inspired DIY Challenge. But for this month, and because of the time of year we're in, we are calling it the Inspired Fall or Halloween DIY Challenge. Now, the premise of her challenge is that you find something that inspires you, like maybe you saw a project done on YouTube or a picture on Pinterest or something like that, and you simply recreate that inspired piece. Very simple, very easy, so that's what we're going to do today. Now what I'll do is before each project I will insert a picture of the idea that inspired me, and then we will go ahead, of course, and recreate it. So I hope you enjoy this video today. Again, once you're finished with my video, go over and check out Elena's video. Description or YouTube link will be in the description box. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. So here's our inspirational photo for project number 1. I really want to make this cute pumpkin bouquet. So what I've got here, these are some pumpkins I bought at Hobby Lobby in a bag, and I don't know where the footage went, but I ended up painting these with Dixie Belle chalk paint in the color drop cloth. And of course, now they're dry, I'm just replacing the stem. And for my container, I'm going to use this one from Dollar Tree, but I want to cover up the embossed words. So what I'm doing is using this painter's paper. You know, you can buy a roll of this at like Walmart or whatever, and I'm just forming it around the bucket to get my pattern, and I'm just using my fingernail here to kind of indent along the top and the bottom where the rolled edge is, and then I cut out where I indented it to give me a pattern. Now I originally did it in one long piece, as you can see here, and just cut, you know, down the center of one section, but it's too long to fit on my 12 by 12 paper. So now what I did is fold the ends in, and I ended up cutting 2 pieces this size, so one for front, one for back. Fits perfectly on 12 by 12 paper. So that's what I've got here, and I went ahead and used my sewing machine to sew around the perimeter. And then I'm going to use Beacon Fabri-Tac glue to glue it to the front of the container. And I wanted to cover that because it said fleurs and planter, of course, which is flowers. And this is more of a harvest bouquet with pumpkins and stuff, so I didn't want that to show. But, you know, if you wanted to leave it like it was or just paint over it, you know, of course you have that option. So I'm able on this container, actually, when I go to glue these pieces on, to the rolled edges are not clamped down really tight, so I can kind of tuck my paper right up under those rolled edges so it gives it a nice clean fit. So of course just gluing both pieces to the front and back, overlaps on the sides a little bit, and then our container is all ready to go. Alright, so we're going to stuff in some styrofoam, and it looks like we have our little fur baby visitor again with us for our projects today. So you're going to see her tail flickering up in the left hand corner, but you know, that's okay. So once I get my styrofoam in, I'm going to add Excelsior around all the edges and the top, just, you know, covering it up really nicely. And then I've got these lamb's ear bunches I bought at Walmart. I bought 3 bunches. Each bunch is $2 and comes with like 2 picks. So I'm just kind of tucking them in on the right and left side, of course. And now I've also got this eucalyptus I bought at Walmart as well. It's $2 a bunch, so I just cut off, you know, three or 4 little pieces to tuck them in around the lamb's ear. Now I'm not a professional, you know, floral arranger by any means. I just try to kind of make it look even on the right and left side. And then there's a little extra lamb's ear here that I had left over from another project. I'm kind of tucking that in, and some little pieces left over from Dollar Tree picks that were real fuzzy, so I'm tucking those in. These are berries I got from Hobby Lobby, and when I cut the lamb's ear, the stem off of it, I kept the little pieces so that I could wind a lot of these picks we're going to be using around that really sturdier stem, which allows me to, you know, poke it in a little bit better into the styrofoam. So I'm just kind of using those excess pieces. And again, I kind of use things in odd numbers as well. I think that helps, you know, to look a little bit better, of course, when I'm arranging. And these acorns, these orangish acorns I got at Joann's, I'm just using one pick. I cut it into 3 pieces. Again, winding around the stem of the lamb's ear, tucking it in, kind of tucking things in like a triangular vision when I use 3 pieces or so. This pick came from Hobby Lobby, and I'm using kind of the pieces, couple of pieces with the acorn or the pine cones on it with a little bit of pit berry. So I'm just, you know, tucking in one on each side. Again, wrapping it around those extra stems left over from the lamb's ear. And here comes my pumpkins. Now I'm going to actually be using some rusty fencing in this bouquet today. So I just took some of that rusty fencing and poked it into the pumpkins, and that's what I'm using to poke into our bouquet. And those of you who might be new to my channel, I've been using rusty fencing on a lot of my last fall projects. We have a big roll of it out in the backyard, and I just cut off of it here and there. You can see it right here. And I just tuck it into the projects. I think it adds great texture. Kind of gives it that rustic appeal. Just one piece on each side here, just a little bit, not too much. And now I'm using a wood slice for kind of our sign on our bouquet today, and I'm just tracing around the wood slice. And then I'll go in on this one about, half an inch or so, and I'm redrawing the perimeter. Here it is right here, and I'm going to cut that out. I'm going to do this twice because I'm going to cover the front and back of the wood slice, and I sewed around it as well with my sewing machine. And I'm taking the open end of my scissor blades and I'm just scraping it along the circles to give it some texture. And I've got some really kind of thick floral wire here. I'm going to glue this onto one side of the wood slice. And then I'm going to cover it with a piece of paper here and just kind of let that set up a little bit. And that way this kind of makes this wood slice a pick that we can, you know, poke into the styrofoam. Covering the other side. And for my words here today, these are words I got. They came in a package at Hobby Lobby, and I'm going to use one of those. But I found these at Dollar Tree, and they're really easy to take apart. You just kind of pop out the light. And I got these for this reason, but went ahead and went with the Hobby Lobby ones. And then you just, once you take the light bulb out, you just kind of cut those pieces of wood that's in between the two. And then once that's done, you can just kind of very gently kind of back and forth snap off those pieces of wood. And now you have wood words to use, which I think would look perfectly wonderful. But I wanted a little bit more of a cursive script to this word for the bouquet today. So just kind of gluing it onto our wood slice, and I'm going to use this ribbon from Dollar Tree, and I'm cutting off the wire edge because I like mine to look a little more rustic. And then I pull off the edges to fray them a little bit, pull the strings off, so you can see here what it looks like. And then I started out with this plaid ribbon I got from, I believe, Joann's, and here I'm pulling off the strings so you can see how easy it is to kind of make the edge look frayed. And I'm going to make a bow. So what I'm doing is I loop it 3 times here, and I'll show you again in just a minute to kind of make it look like a bow. So you go back and forth holding the center, looping as many loops as you want. And then what you're going to do is I just, right in the center, I cut about a little 1/4 inch slit on each side. And then I'm taking just some really thin floral wire here, and I will wrap it through those little slits around at the back side, and then just twist it nice and tight, really closed. Cut off the excess, and then those little slits allow you to be able to kind of twist and turn those loops. Even though I cut the wire off around the edges on this ribbon as well, you can still twist and turn the loops. Now you're seeing me use this plaid ribbon, but I decide later I don't really like this plaid ribbon, so I change it to a striped ribbon, same colors, kind of black and cream, but you won't see that till you actually see the end result. But here I'm just still twisting the wires or the loops around, and now I'm going to add a wire, the same wire I used on the little wood slice sign, and I'm adding it through the loop of the first ribbon here, twisting it around. I'm going to cut off the excess, and that way I can poke this into the styrofoam right underneath the pumpkin. Now I probably could have done the same thing on the next ribbon here, but I decided I wanted to glue it down for some reason. I don't know why. I think maybe because I wanted to really poke it way up under that pumpkin, but you could use wire for certain. And here I'm using some paper covered wire I got from Hobby Lobby, and I'm just kind of combining and curling the two together and placing it under my ribbon. And then once I tuck in this log slice sign, this project is complete. So here's our inspirational photo for project number 2. We're going to make this really cool kind of pumpkin wreath. But for my base, I'm going to use this pumpkin wreath form from Dollar Tree, and I actually spray painted it. I used this Rust-Oleum matte black, and for the wire I'm again pulling out the rusty fence wire, and what I did is I just formed it inside right up against the wreath form there, and now I'm just kind of cutting off the excess around the edges. So I've got these little pieces sticking out, of course, and then what I'm going to do is just kind of take them and wrap them around the outer perimeter of the wreath frame. And if I have to cut off some excess wire here and there, of course I will do that. But that way it's all nice and firmly attached. So we're going to work on this for just a little bit. See, this is a little bit too much wire here, so I'm going to cut that off again and, you know, wrap it around. We're going to do this all the way around. So here's what it looks like when it's done. And I want to cover that up, so I'm going to take this rope here, and you could use rope from Dollar Tree. This is a little bit smaller size rope I got at Hobby Lobby, but of course, like I said, you can use the rope from Dollar Tree. And I'm just going to glue it right on top, the outer perimeter of the frame here. That way it covers any little pokey wires that might be sticking out. So, you know, I sell this at a craft show. No one's going to get stuck with the rusty fence wire. And I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. I'm going to wrap it around the stem of the pumpkin here at the top. Wrap the rope right around it. Although I do end up covering it with a like half of a wood slice, I still want it to look finished off, especially if the frame gets kind of turned around to the back side. I just like my things to look finished off, because most of them I do end up selling at shows or personal orders if someone contacts me or something like that. So I want it to look nice. So here's the way it looks, front and back. And I'm going to start with these burlap leaves from Dollar Tree. Now, you're not going to really see a lot of these leaves. It's mainly for being able to glue to. So what I've done, I did it on the first two, I'm going to show you here, is I kind of pull on the outer edges of the leaf, the burlap, to distress it. And then I've got this little ink thing here you can get in the scrapbooking section. I kind of ink around the edges just to kind of distress it and make it look a little nicer. So we're going to take two of the, I end up using 2 leaves here because I cut one in half. So we're going to put one on each side here of our stem, right at the tip top. So you'll see a little bit of that upper portion, you know, sticking out. Let's get one on the left side, and then we'll do one on the right side. And again, this is mainly so, especially this next middle piece we put on because it looks really funny, but it's mainly so we have an area to glue to, and it hides all our picks and wires and things. See, this part looks funny, but it hides everything from the back side, and it gives us a nice surface area because that fencing and that pumpkin frame, it's all see-through. There's nothing to glue to, so we need that surface area to be able to glue all our pieces to. So once we get that on there, ready to go, and we're gonna I've got some of this wired rope here I got from Hobby Lobby, but I know some of you are lucky your Dollar Tree has gotten this in, but ours did not. So I'm going to glue it around the stem a little bit to give some movement. And then also using again some of that paper wire, I'm gluing that around the stem as well, like I used in the pumpkin bouquet in our first project. I love that paper wire. I went back to get more at Hobby Lobby, gone, so I ended up ordering 6 rolls of it on hobbylobby.com. Anyway, now I'm adding in some Excelsior here just to give it texture, and these are some pieces from Dollar Tree. All these different picks and leaves and pumpkin picks, all these come from Dollar Tree, as you can see here. I'm showing you all the little things we're going to be using right at first here. This is the same pick we used in a pumpkin bouquet. This is from Joann's, or I mean Hobby Lobby. This is from Hobby Lobby as well. Little berry picks. This is from Joann's, the little acorns. These are from Dollar Tree, the flowers we'll be using today. That flower, this flower I got at Walmart in their fall section. These wood leaves are from Joann's. This is from Dollar Tree. Might use some of this brown twine, I'm not sure. This kind of twine ribbon is from Hobby Lobby. These are from Hobby Lobby again, and clothespins from Dollar Tree. And this ribbon also from Dollar Tree. And these pit berries, I got ours at Hobby Lobby, and this kind of wired ropey stuff I got at Hobby Lobby as well. And I'll bring in some more material later. There's a lot that goes on this. So right now I cut one of those stems that had the pumpkins on it, cut 2 pieces off to add one to each side, and I'm adding in some of those beads on the right and left side. Adding in this I found at Joann's, love it, so we'll be tucking some of that in here in just a minute. Right now we'll add in some of these fuzzy leaf picks I got off a summer pick from Dollar Tree. And these are little berries I got off that flower I just showed you. It was 1 pick. They were like $1.29 or something at Walmart, really cheap. And then I'm coming in, and so I cut those off and tucked it in. Now I'm coming in with the acorns here and gluing these in. Adding in some of these wood leaves. I'm using some of this craft ink to kind of, you know, darken the edges a little bit. This is a doily that I rip up, and I'm using this periodically around. You're not really going to see much. It just kind of fills up a little bit. I don't, you know, you don't really maybe even need this because you really only kind of see a poke of it through the top edge, but you know, it's there. Adding a little more Excelsior in here. And then I'm coming in with the wood leaves. These are those sticks I tore off of those 3-pack of witch's brooms that you get at Dollar Tree, and it's the black color, and I just, you know, pulled off a bunch of sticks and kind of glue them together and poke them in on each side. Love those for texture. These are just some flowers off of a pick from Hobby Lobby. So just, you know, whatever you have around, pumpkins and acorns and flowers, Excelsior or sisal, anything like that to kind of tuck in back and forth. Beads. Here comes the flower from Dollar Tree. I love this sunflower. It's really pretty. I tuck that in, and I'll tuck in this one, the rustic orange one from Dollar Tree. Adding in some more of the wood leaves. We're just moving right along, and I just kind of tuck the same on the right as the left. Sometimes maybe not as much, but and I try to, you know, make it real, you know, symmetry on both sides. Tucking in the pit berries, right and left side. I'm tucking in some more of these other little pine cone and acorn picks here. These are some little kind of beaded little things that came off one of the pumpkin picks I showed you earlier that I found at Joann's. Now I took that twine-ish ribbon and I cut off the wired edge, and so it leaves this nice frayed edging here. Here's a half of a wood slice, and I see here, you'll see me tuck it in on the side because I thought it would be cute, but at the end you'll actually see it right over the roped area on the stem. And now I'm tucking in an actual pumpkin that got at Dollar Tree. They come in a 4-pack, they're on little clips, so I tucked the pumpkin in there, and now I'm tucking in a rusty wire on both sides. But I love how that ribbon at the bottom, when you cut the wire off and then tie it into a bow, how frayed it gets. Here comes those cute little pumpkins I'm tucking in on both sides of the flowers from the pick I got at Joann's. So Dollar Tree burlap ribbon here. It's too thick to tie into a bow, so I just kind of lay it one side over the other and then glue it to make a loop here. But this looks really pretty, kind of, you know, in between layers of your fabrics that you're using for your bows. Because I do, you know, 2 or 3 little bows here. This is just some material, lacy material I have in my supply, and I just rip pieces apart and I tuck them in for added texture. Not something you need, but I just love that look, and all these little bits and baubles really help kind of pull this design together with all the different textures. Even though sometimes you don't see much of it, it really does add to it, I think. And here comes, you know, another of that rustic orange. I'm just loving that color this year from Dollar Tree, adding a little bit of white twine. I took 2 pieces and tied it into a bow, so it's got a lot of texture here, and adding that kind of wired ribbon from Hobby Lobby in there, and adding some sisal just to give it more and more texture in here. Adding a little more sisal. It's not quite got enough, so I'm going to add a little bit more before I get that bow on completely, just to fill that area in. And now I'm adding a piece to a wood slice here, just kind of like we did on the first project. And these are a couple of ephemera fall pieces, taking a clothespin from Dollar Tree and you know, gluing them together, a little tag and a little heart that says love this, and tucking it behind. And then I have this cute little pumpkin here, ephemera pumpkin. I tuck that in as well. And then I'm going to glue this right over the bow. We're going to finish up by adding this wood word to our wood slice. Again, I'm going to use one of the words from the package of words I got from Hobby Lobby, but you could do like we discussed in the first project, taking a home decor piece from Dollar Tree and, you know, breaking it apart to get your wood word, and that makes this project complete. I really think this turned out super cute. Please leave me a comment down below and let me know which project was your favorite today. Did you like the pumpkin bouquet, or do you like the pumpkin wreath? Give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you're not already a subscriber. Go ahead and hit that red subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos from me. Come follow me on Instagram. I also have a new Facebook group. I'd love to come have you join. That link will be in the description box. We have a lot of us artists are joining together to get inspired and be inspired by sharing our crafts. It's a lot of fun. Make sure that you go ahead and check out Elena's video. Again, I will have the link in the description box. Show her some love. Let her know I sent you. I can't wait to see what she creates. I know I'm not going to be disappointed. Thank you, Elena, for asking me to co-host this month with you. It was certainly my pleasure to join in this crafty endeavor. Everyone, I thank you for sharing your time with me, and I'll talk with you again soon. Bye.